Hello and welcome to Somerset News Network. I'm getting very concerned about the number of people being arrested and trying to convict them on free speech matters. We had Tommy Robinson reporting from a court case outside the court. The information he was giving out on his video, on his live stream, was from the BBC. He took the information he gave out directly from publicly available information on the BBC. I looked up the same information, it was there. And he ended up going back to jail for contempt of court. It's like the legal system has found a way to create kangaroo courts, because that's what it is. The judicial system is now making the law. Judges are not there to make the law. They are there to make sure the law is upheld and administered properly. If you're convicted of a crime, on minor crimes you go to a magistrate court. 2, for serious crimes you go to court and you have a jury, and the jury, 12 people of your peers, tell you whether you're guilty or innocent, and you're allowed to fight your case. In Tommy Robinson's case, he had a judge sitting as a magistrate. It's like back in the time of James II, which led up to the Glorious Revolution. After, I'm a guy from Somerset, and I was brought up on stories of the Monmouth Rebellion, how the Protestants rose up against the Catholic king, James II. After the Battle of Sedgemoor, the retribution dished out to the Protestants in this area was frightening. They had somebody called the hanging judge, Judge Jeffreys, Bristol Assizes and Gloucester Assizes, and Essex Assizes. They were told if they pleaded guilty that the judge would be lenient on them. So the first one went in, pleaded guilty, and the judge said hang him. And they hung the lot of them. Now, I'm not saying we're hanging people today, but the same judicial system is being used against us. And we have to start saying it. We have to start explaining what is happening to people. People are being arrested for free speech. I may totally disagree with what they say. I would use Voltaire. He said, I may disagree with you, but I'll fight to the death your right to say it. In some cases, I use Oscar Wilde. He took the same quote, and you might say bastardized it. He said, I may disagree with you, but I'll fight to the death your right to make an ass of yourself. I sometimes don't agree with these guys that are going to court. But that's not the point. The point is free speech. And what they've done now is they've now brought in Sharia law into British law. Now you're saying they can't do that. Yes, they can. Jack Straw, when he was Home Secretary, recognised Sharia law. And now Sharia courts in this country. Totally wrong. Against the Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights says that church courts are illegal. That's the first thing. We've then got Cameron brought in the Court and Tribunals Act. This meant that our courts and tribunals that we have now are linked to European law. And we now find that some of the judges in the trials are promoting harmonisation between British law and European law. European law is based on Napoleonic law. British law is British law. Right of free speech, right of fair trial, you know, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights and everything else that goes with it. We have lawyers. The lawyers started after 1354, and there was an Act of Parliament that said that everybody would be tried under due process of law. And that's where that quote comes from. 1354, and we're still using it today. Due process of law. The problem we have is that due process of law is not happening. They're perverting the course of justice. Now this guy has just had the police raid his house. He had 10 policemen raid his house and take him away in front of his child for hate speech against Muslims. I don't know what he said. I haven't seen the quotes, and I can't say whether it is hate crime or not. But what if it's free speech? What if he's critical of Muslims? That isn't a hate crime. You know, I'm a Protestant. I was brought up, like I said, on the stories of the Monmouth Rebellion. And I was brought up to believe that Catholics were evil. I don't think they are, not now. But that's how the people around me were talking. The little Baptist church I went to as a kid was Plymouth Brethren. And the Plymouth Brethren ended up going to America so they could be Protestants. And that was fire and brimstone Baptists. Going to church, I used to be frightened going home on a Sunday. But that's in my past. You know, if some of the things the preachers said then were said now, they'd be in court for blaspheming against Catholics. But anyway, because they recognise Sharia law, and we've got the hate crime unit in London now, I was told it was 200 police officers, but somebody's blogged me yesterday and said it's 1,000 police officers in London are working on a hate crime unit. It's just mind-boggling. Why that many? Why can't normal police look into a crime? That's what they're there for. You know, it's hate crime and hate speech unit of Qasim Khan, the London mayor. Now it turns out that this Fahrenheit 21, which is his code name, I don't know what his real name is, 2 officers, a police officer and a civilian, came up from London and with 10 other police officers raided his house to take him away for saying something against Muslims, and I don't know what he said. But I would like to put forward the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights states that you have the right of freedom of speech and debate, or debates in Parliament cannot be impeached or questioned in courts or place outside. Now, the important word in Article 9 of the Bill of Rights is or. It splits the sentence up. It means either or, one or the other. It doesn't mean and. They have been promoting Article 9 as freedom of speech in Parliament only. I don't believe this is the case. That little word, 2 letters, OR, or, in the middle of the sentence, in my interpretation of the law, means it's one thing or the other, not joined. Freedom of speech or debate, or proceedings in Parliament. So proceedings in Parliament have free speech because of the clause Article 9 of the Bill of Rights. But we too, as individuals outside of Parliament, under Article 9, in my belief, have the right of free speech and debate. This would also account for council offices, open meetings, public open meetings, outside. This is what I think it was designed for. Because under James II, he tried to stop people having free speech outside of Parliament. So it means both of us. It means Parliament and the people. But by promoting the idea that this article is only for MPs, makes them above the law. The law isn't designed for MPs individually. The law has to be equal to all. Therefore, we have the right of free speech and debate. So why is this guy being arrested? How do you create a hate crime? On speech? I think it's wrong. I think we've got to rethink the way we're doing things. And we have to have the right of free speech. That is the fundamental principle of British law. It's not for them to tell us what we can say and what we can't say. You can't say something that is wrong, and there are laws to cover that. I made comments about somebody years ago, and the police tried to arrest me for harassment. I just turned around and said I was trying to prevent a crime. And they couldn't do anything. As long as what you say is true. That is the important thing. You can't go telling lies about people. And the law is there to protect the people who untruths are said about. So, Fahrenheit 211, I hope you get sorted out. I believe in free speech. I don't know what you said, but it looks like you're going to go against the kangaroo court again. I hope you get proper justice. Unlikely under this regime, as we're now accepting Sharia law in this country. Totally wrong, totally illegal, and I hope things are well, and I hope your son is better. Anyway, Ian, Somerset News Network, signing off, giving my support to Fahrenheit 211.